During the summer of 1928, Dr. Robert Oppenheimer read The Enormous Room by E. Cummings. This autobiographical novel is about Cummings' 3-month incarceration in a French wartime prison camp. Cummings served as an ambulance driver during World War I. In late August 1917, his friend and colleague, William Slater Brown, known in the book only as B, was arrested by French authorities because of the anti-war sentiments B had expressed in some letters. When questioned, Cummings stood by his friend and was also arrested. Oppenheimer loved Cummings' notion that a man stripped of all his possessions can still find personal freedom in the most rigorously simple surroundings. Cummings' story would take on a new meaning for Oppenheimer after his 1954 security hearing. Oppenheimer was called before a tribunal of the Atomic Energy Commission for a hearing on his past affiliation with communist organizations, the safety of his continued security clearance, and the possibility that he was a Soviet spy. As a result, his security clearance was revoked, bringing disgrace to Oppenheimer and provoking outrage among his scientific peers. Although stripped of his direct political influence, Oppenheimer continued to lecture, write, and work in physics. At 7:09 on the morning of Monday, July 25, 2005, the following 3 things came to mind simultaneously: the term personal freedom, Cummings' 90-day incarceration, and Oppenheimer's 1954 security hearing. I had just entered my live-work space and was walking up the stairs that lead into the studio. At the top of the staircase, I looked around my stark 756 square foot enormous room. I recognized the fact that over the last 3 years I had stripped myself of everything I want to do what I need. Doing what I need is my personal freedom, and I found it by letting go of unnecessary belongings. I was carrying my copy of The Enormous Room and glanced down at the cover. It has a red cross with barbed wire running across it. The red cross gave me the idea to commit to painting 90 red crosses in the red hue family in 90 days. 1 red cross for each of the days Cummings was in prison. I would start the project on September 21st, 2005, and would have to finish it by December 19th, 2005. 90 Red Crosses is a single work comprising 10 rows of 9 11-inch by 8.5-inch acrylic paintings on paper. I restricted myself to the barest essentials and used a limited number of palettes to color the same design in quantity as if I were a machine. Cummings' story would take on a new meaning for me during the financial crisis of 2007 and 2008. The financial crisis of 2007 and 2008 was the worst of its kind since the Great Depression. It became prominently visible in September 2008 with the failure, merger, or conservatorship of several large United States-based financial firms. The underlying causes leading to the crisis had been reported in business journals for many months before September, with commentary about the financial stability of leading U.S. and European investment banks, insurance firms, and mortgage banks consequent to the subprime mortgage crisis. On the afternoon of Saturday, March 22nd, my life drastically changed when my employer reduced my income 28%. I had been working as a custom picture framer for over 20 years, and the person who took over the business on December 1st, 2005, was following guidelines suitable to include in a textbook about surviving and thriving in an economic downturn. Big corporations will lay off workers to please their shareholders. This is because large-scale business decisions that directly impact the bottom line can come from investor pressures, and many do not serve employees in the long term. Financial instability exists in small family-owned and operated businesses because they are less stable than larger corporations and can fall on hardship in tough times. But the original owner of this picture framing company understood that anxiety and a drop in morale would be the net result if she laid off employees. So she never did, and we chugged along like a locomotive during both the dot-com bubble of the late 1990s and the 2002 recession. So at 43 years of age, I went from working 40 hours in 3 days as a custom picture framer and 40 hours in 4 days as an artist to 28 hours in 2 days as a custom picture framer, 30 hours in 5 days as a minimum wage floor trainer at a local gym, and carrying around my Holocaust project in a duffel bag so I could work on it during breaks at both jobs. Yes, I was making $7 an hour organizing a chronically neglected weight room. I would come home from my 7-hour shift at the gym exhausted, collapse on the couch in my kitchen, and later get up to study for my personal training certification. My faith in the work that gives my life meaning, my art, is what prevented me from taking a path to self-destruction. I put together this prose poem because last week I realized that during this very painful time period, I was hauling around weight plates in an enormous room. I had been stripped of the uninterrupted hours I had used to dedicate to my artwork, but had my personal freedom because my truth shined like a beacon and guided me through the darkness. Reading is not only fundamental, it can save your life.